Today I have with me someone who's not just passionate about diamonds, but also where they come from. Please welcome Mr. Sachin Jain, Managing Director at De Beers India. We welcome you, Mr. Jain.
Thanks so much, Soumya. It's a pleasure for you to be here, and I'm really privileged to be on your platform. Thank you.
We are very happy to have you too. Let me begin with a rather fun question. Are diamonds really a woman's best friend? So, of course, I have an opinion of my own, but since you're the expert today, I want you to take this up.
Well, they are women's best friend. And the fact is, time has entailed that it is. Time has stood for the point it is. And, one, it's an exuberating fact of somebody to celebrate their life, their moments of joy, some milestones with something as precious and as rare as a gift of Mother Nature like diamonds. And we've seen this through centuries. And, whenever we, on a fun side only, I'll say that whenever we see a diamond getting gifted or bought or purchased, three people get impacted. So one is people who are watching this transaction happen. So we're around. There's something that happens to the woman or the person who gets it. And there's certainly something that happens to one person's wallet. So it's an interesting exchange of things.
Who's mostly the husband?
Yeah, husband, boyfriend, somebody wants to express love. But truly, diamonds for that sense are miraculous. The youngest of them that we mine is 100 crore years old. Right? And how many things that we all hold and touch? I mean, certainly not a luxury bag, certainly not a watch that can express that eternity or what love could mean, what eternity could mean, what preciousness could be. So I think these miracles of Mother Nature are truly, truly precious.
I would want you to take us through the overall diamond market in India. What has been the consumption like? Any key insights that you've drawn over the years? And I specifically want to understand if the shine of the diamond market in India is intact post the pandemic as well.
So thanks for that question, because I'm like a firm believer of the potential of India in a lot of facets of life, economy, the way we are living our lives. But I can tell you in our business what's happening. So just to give you some statistics, across the world of diamond mining and the diamond sales, we are one of the largest miners of diamonds in the world, and we sell through the world. Even till today, for all the diamonds that get mined in the world, over 50% of them get consumed in the United States. That's the largest market. Second largest market is China, which is about 17 to 18%. And the third largest market is India, which is about 7.5%. So that's the current status. And our belief is, and based on our research, and we're betting on the consumption pattern changing in India, we believe that this percentage of Indian contribution is going to get almost double by 2030. Now, that really means that the current consumption of market of diamonds in India, or diamond jewelry in India, which is about, give or take about $5.5 billion, is gonna almost double up. And the reasons for that, one is the acceptance of diamonds from a transparency point of view. So if you go back in time, all of us, immaterial of which income strata we are in, we'll have a family doctor and we'll have a family jeweler, right? And perhaps that family jeweler has been, has been your friend, foe, guide, all of those things. True. But in today's time, I mean, youngsters like you and even Gen Z in general, you want to put your hard-earned money on areas which you're certain of, which you can bank on, there's transparency, there's modernity. And India is very well positioned to accept those changes. The trends are evolving, the lifestyle of women are evolving. So we are believing that in the next phase of life of diamonds, India will play a very crucial role in the increase of diamond consumption in the global world. So India is on a high. India is very critical in the global diamond business. I mean, we are very large from a manufacturing setup. So 9 out of 10 diamonds come to India for cutting, polishing, trading. But we think that from a consumption perspective also, it's going to be a fastest growing market in the next 7 to 8 years.
Awesome. And I believe it's an absolute investment. So women, especially, if I talk of the women of my own age group, they see it as a big investment, and so are the husbands. So initially, I believe my mother was the one who was, after us to buy jewelry. But it has also come down to our generation now. Diamond, gold is an investment now more than, just a piece of jewelry. So yes, that has percolated, in the younger generations as well. So yes, I do agree on
That's
that.
true. I think the difference only is that, when you say investment, then I think that the growing trend is that, diamonds represent special moments of life. It's a little more emotional than just, putting an
Absolutely.
investment and buying. So if you were to say that I want to make an investment, then I would say invest on stocks of De Beers, or invest in the, stocks of De Beers or a diamond company. But buy a diamond because that means something to you, and they'll remind you of a special moment of your life. And I think with lives, how they're evolving, I think those moments are becoming more and more precious. They're becoming more and more rare in our lives in general. And emblems of love are really mainstay. I mean, and the other thing that's changing is, as I was saying, the lifestyle of women is changing. So, for example, we see more and more youngsters and people in your generation who are, living almost a multifaceted life. So, for example, you're running your dropping your kids to school in the morning, you're running your home, then you're running your office, and in the evening you're having sipping a glass of wine with friends. But accessorization in this whole process is getting more simpler. You don't necessarily need to wear large chunky gold jewelry to show that you're ready for an occasion, but it's a combination of simplicity with modernity, which diamonds represent well in their lifestyle impact. And the other element that's changing in India hugely is what we call is the women economics. So women have the wealth and decision making in their hands. Now, traditionally, go back 1 or 2 decades back, when somebody was buying gold or jewelry or diamonds, it was generally a family decided, right? So we see that a lot of our stores, a minimum size of customers walking in to buy one piece of jewelry will be 5 to 7, right?
True.
So you'll come and buy as a family. Now that's changing. Today, a woman doesn't have to wait for an approval. She has has a disposable income in her own hands. And we see that's a very unique area of development. And that's reflecting of a modern India. And that's reflecting on how the growth in India has to be very different than what we've seen in the past.
I agree, absolutely. So coming to my next question, De Beers recently rang its 10th birthday in India. So congratulations on that. How has been the brand's overall journey been for you? And what do you count as, some of your key milestones?
Well, actually, I mustn't say that it was our 10th birthday. We've been working in India for forever. I mean, we've been in the business for 132 years. And the first customers of De Beers, which were site holders who got the whole magnetism of the Indian entrepreneurism to pull the entire cutting and polishing business in India, started in the 60s and 70s. So India for De Beers has been very important. We did start investing in the consumption of diamonds right from 98 onwards. But what we celebrated our 10th birthday was for a brand called De Beers Forever Mark. So which is one of our consumer facing brands that we started in 2011. So we are in the 11th year this year, and it's been a phenomenal journey for us. As consumers have changed, as the retail infrastructure has been changing, we've been very lucky to be in our country at this time. And not just me, I think anybody who has a modern narrative or a global narrative of brands, I think India is ready. So we've only enjoyed what's happening in India. The differences are that, the understanding that when you are a global brand, you have to come into India with a slightly different nuance. It's not cut, copy, paste. And I think not just for diamonds business or De Beers, but I think for any global brand, if you manage that transition well, I think the Indian market responds humongously. And we've been quite lucky that our response of our transparency, of our modernity, and the 3 pillars on what we stand, and that's these diamonds are beautiful, they're rare, and they're responsibly sourced, is resonating extremely well with the target audience of De Beers.
I will be coming down to the transitioning question in the later part of my conversation. For now, I really want you to elaborate on De Beers business and the audience in India. How have your consumers responded, especially in the past few years when the strength and potential of brands was substantially tested?
So, India is a very interesting market because, rightly or wrongly, we in some way commoditize our category. And we are amongst the, only markets in the world where jewelry, high-end jewelry gets commoditized. All of us walk into a jewelry store and the first question is, how much is gold? How much is diamond? What's the making charge? And we commoditize it. But the fact is that's evolving. There's more respect for transparency. Consumers are happy to pay a little bit more premium or I would say a more transparent cost but to ensure that they get the right product, right? Values like responsible sourcing matter to consumers more and more. Sustainability, my impact to the planet are not just ticks anymore. And you would agree that COVID has really pushed that narrative. When you saw blue sky in New Delhi, which was for the first time we ever saw it, I think we all understand the impact or the negative impact we make on planet Earth. So all these things as a combination are inherent sort of pillars of our offering. So our offering is the right source, the offering is transparency, offering is understanding where the modern consumer is going. And as an organization, we believe in one thing very, very firmly. And the belief is that we think that a consumer in India, which is in a tier 3, tier 4, tier 5 market, or a New Delhi or a Mumbai, is exactly well sort of exposed as a consumer in New York or a Tokyo or a London. So we don't think that a consumer in a Bhubaneswar is not ready. We think they are. They're ready to consume our language. They're ready to consume the transparency and also the modern designs or the sensibility in which you sell. So we started with our partners on, in their own environments. The evolution happened where we, did more what we call shop in shops within the stores. And I would say that we earned that space, and our clients and our consumers helped us earn that space. Over the last 2-3 years, we've been trying to learn the exclusive retail concept. Again, this is all through partners, and the consumers are responding beautifully to the overall experience of what a brand can offer them. So, from an evolution perspective, retail evolved. From an evolution perspective, our product lines evolved, and the way we communicating is evolving quite more. We always feel that the most important ambassador for our brand is the diamond. And we always kept focused on that as the most important thing. And the most other important element is the client, who's walking in and she's buying it for herself or buying it as a representation of love.
Very well said. Okay, so my next question to you is: we realize that the diamond brands are at the forefront when it comes to their marketing initiatives. This is one industry which is typically very heavy on advertising. So how does the brand's marketing, De Beers marketing plan really looks like? What are some of the initiatives or strategies that have worked for you? What is that one messaging or communication strategy that you typically follow?
You know what? The year called 1947 was a very important year for us in India, right?
Yeah.
It was a year of our independence. Also, that was a very important year in the diamond business, because at that point in time, there's a lady called Frances Grady who was a copywriter, and she wrote a very simple line, and that changed the way diamonds meant and felt. And the line was a simple phrase called "a diamond is forever," right? And I can't tell you how powerful that simple line is, and simplicity is always very powerful.
Absolutely.
And that line has been standing test of time since then till now. And it resonates with consumers of every age bracket. It resonates with consumers of every social background, right? Because what we're trying to say is that the essence of every campaign that we do is keeping the clientele in mind, keeping our honesty in mind, which is what is a diamond and what does it do in the hearts and minds of the consumer. And a simple line of "a diamond is forever" really for us is a North Star which guides all our campaigns. So you could focus on a product, you could focus on an emotion, but eventually whatever we do is, why we say it's a clientele and not necessarily a consumer. That's the mindset, because when somebody buys from us, it's a lifelong relationship. A diamond is about longevity. When you hear people say that I'm a jeweler and I've been around for 100 years, what is he trying to say? That I was here for 100 years, I'm going to be here for the next 100. So it's about longevity that we try to communicate. And hence, that remains our most important guiding principle. And then things evolve. Like our current campaign is about "I do," which is the essence of a modern woman of today. And it's not, "I do" is a terminology when you hear about it, you'd say, "I do" is an acceptance of a wedding, right? But here it's "I do" of what I think is right for me, and I don't do what's right for me. So it's exploring the mental narrative of a changing philosophy or a changing society. So for us, all our campaigns are built on where the consumer is, not necessarily saying, "Here's my product, push it and buy it." And I think that's why De Beers has been in the business for so long, where our thought process begins on where the consumer narrative is. So, and everything comes beyond that. So I always not agree to the way we advertise as an industry, because we do advertise At times, you would say a discount being the most powerful thing in the whole communication, right? So the different brands do that. I think in some way we do disservice to what truly these miracles are. And if we really talk about what they are, we do a good job in selling them transparently with the right value and the creativity, I think the consumer is ready to consume our category even more.
So coming down to my last question, what are some of the key ingredients for a global brand to cement itself in a country like India? Any advice that you have for the marketeers?
I think few, and I did touch upon that in the beginning. First and foremost, there has to be a very clear understanding as to what you are as a brand, what you are. I mean, with all honesty, somebody should, when you're doing, brands, leave aside brands which are global or Indian, the starting point is honestly saying what you are and really identifying that and not creating a posture of what you're not. So, which generally doesn't get success. So that's the starting point. And I think consistency of consumer experience, consistency of a product, these are more standard things that we hear. But I have always felt, and in my own personal career, I've been lucky to be part of 4 industries, very different from one another. But all my 4 experiences of working were with global brands. All 4 were from Europe, in different industries. But I think what makes global brands successful is the consistency and a nuance of understanding the Indian market, which tends to do things slightly differently to make sense to an Indian consumer. But I think never think that Indian consumer is behind, because we cannot today, and with powerful mediums like social media and other elements, I think the exposure for everybody is same. Every consumer across the world is same. And any brand, if you're talking about a brand in New York or Tokyo or London or India, it has to be very consistent. So I think that'll be my opinion.
Okay, so some great takeaways from this interview. I want to, extend my earnest thanks for taking out time and sharing some really helpful insights with us. I'm sure the audiences will have their takeaways as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Samir. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.